Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to another in the Eliminating Stigma Through Story series of our videos. One of the major barriers to people getting help for their addiction and mental health issues is shame and fear. And the idea of these videos is to bring a human face to addiction and mental health issues so that we can help eliminate that shame and fear. My name is Adam Lewis. I'm an addiction counselor and owner of Inspire Recovery Addiction Counseling Incorporated, and I'm an addict.
And I'm Mark Gray. I'm the co-owner of Black and Gray Addiction Support, based in Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and also an addiction counselor. And today we have Stephen joining us. He's going to share a little bit of his story through the struggles of addiction and the successes of his recovery. So very, very excited to have him on today. I met Stephen a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago. No, probably a year and a half.
Yeah, we're too close to 2 now.
Yeah, close to 2. And I heard his story, and it's pretty incredible. So I'm looking forward to diving into it and hearing more details.
Great.
And I'm really excited. I mean, Stephen and I, we met, I guess, a couple years ago, perhaps.
Yeah, a little over 2 now.
And Stephen has always kept me part of his recovery journey. I get a lot of photographs of Stephen's family, and it brings me great joy and happiness. And just so excited for him and happy for him and his family, and looking forward to his story. And just again, thank you so much for doing this, and good to see you, my friend.
My pleasure. Couldn't wait to connect here today. Actually, been pins and needles all day because it's been quite a journey, and it's been a bit of a pause in communication there lately. But yeah, so looking forward to having a chat today.
Yeah. How is the family? How is everyone?
Family's great. I got 2 little boys. One is 4. One is 1.5. My wife's birthday was yesterday, actually. Everybody's doing incredible right now, thanks to a clean and sober living, and coming a long ways in 2 years, I must say. 2 years in April 15th would be just past as my 2-year anniversary. So hopefully can't wait to the next year. But my parents are doing great. My brother and sister, business is doing great, even though pandemic is kind of moving around us everywhere right now. But we happen to be one of the fortunate ones that are continuing to thrive in this right now. So couldn't have done it without a clean and sober living. And 2 years ago, I would have thought that was a long ways away. But right now, it's almost like a distant memory, but one that's kept close, that's kind of programmed in the back of my head where it stays forever. And like Adam once told me a long time ago, never get too far ahead of yourself. Always keep thinking where you came from and where you want to go. So life is great. Yeah.
Awesome.
You weren't thrilled about this journey when we first met.
Definitely not. No, I was not. I was at a treatment center. I was only there for probably 5 hours when I jumped in a cab and decided to pack it up and get out of there, because I thought that I was better than it and that I didn't need the help that I needed. But then I got, calls from my wife and calls from people saying, if you come home without doing what you're there to do, there's no place for you to be here at home. There's no life here. The ultimatums have been put out. And, I took a moment, said a few prayers, and the cab turned around, went back, and it was the best decision I ever made. But yeah, I was not thrilled. I was frightened. I was scared. Never been anywhere like this before in my life. I've been the addict that kind of just flies underneath the radar and tries to cope with whatever comes along when it does. But having a family and having 2 kids, I'm not in this by myself anymore. So it's a journey that had to happen. I couldn't wait to happen, but I was scared. I was afraid, for sure.
Absolutely.
Something really happened. switch. I'll never forget that switch in you. That was so remarkable. I couldn't believe it. The fact your willingness to do the work and how invested you were in recovery. I mean, you switched so much so quickly. When we were working together, I thought, man, this guy, he's saying what he needs to say to get through this process. But then after a while, it started to become very real. I thought, man, no, something really big happened with him, and he has made a turn. And 2 years later, it's only proof of that, eh?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, something definitely did happen. I'm a firm believer in spirituality and where I come from in my past, and something touched me that day and turned me around and told me, listen, if you put the effort into this the same way you have your business or anything like this, you will succeed. You will do it. But I had to admit, I was an addict, that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that I was here for a reason. I was surrounded by the group of guys that I was there for a reason. And the coaches, the teachers, the mentors, everybody there, it was like an awe-inspiring moment that I said, I had to tap into this. And, just a lot happened in the few minutes of being there that really, made things work for me.
Yeah, it's been incredible to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, I'll turn it over to you now. Maybe you and Stephen can go back in time and take us through the journey of how we got here.
Yeah. Yeah, we always like to go back to the beginning. So tell me about childhood. You grew up in Newfoundland, right?
Yeah, so from St. John's, Newfoundland, grew up, two beautiful parents, still together. I've got a sister 5 years older. I got a brother 1 year older than me. I'm the youngest. I don't know if that makes a difference with recovery, but I am the youngest. Beautiful upbringing, great family, lots of love. Not your typical, I guess, from an outside view, addict who was troubled or anything. I really had zero reason to become an addict. Most people would say, "Oh, why would you do that? You've had so much potential," but it wasn't up to me when I decided to do what I did. That's just it. It took over, and but I went right through school, decent grades in school, 80s or whatever, not like a poster child by any means, but I did that and went through business school at MUN. My father started a company when I was 16, bought my first truck, said, "Hey, we got to go to work." 3 years later, bought some heavy equipment, said, "Hey, start learning how to dig holes. We got a construction company." And that just kind of took off. And then one truck became 2, became 10. And now we're somewhere in the 140 vehicle range with 100 employees from here to Quebec. A bunch of real estate, some warehouses. Really no reason to become an addict. Most people would think, why? Like, focus on that. Like, you have a dream opportunity here to succeed. But I banged around with a bunch of friends. I was stressed out from work a lot. I turned to the bottle. The bottle seemed to be okay for a while, but then I was smoking weed too on top of that. And then one time, one person introduced me, "Hey man, like, you always seem to be tapping out early. Like, you get loaded and you're gone home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. How about you try a little cocaine? That'll keep you up."
Mm-hmm.
That was it then. It's game over.
Yeah.
It's cocaine from there, from probably when I was 25 years old till 2 years ago. In and out. I quit for a couple months and get back into it. I quit for a year one time, got back into it, but I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved what it did to me in the scene, in the environment that I was in. I was the king. I could talk the talk. I could stay up all night. I could drink with everybody. It was really, for my personality, it was the perfect connection, I thought. But I didn't realize the damage that was happening behind me and in the background, and how it was. Well, I was single too. I wasn't in and out of relationships, until I met my wife. Nothing really mattered to me. If I met a girl and I was with her a year and she was sick of my attitude and she went on, no big deal. I could stand on my own. I could do it. But I was slowly tearing down trust around me. My parents and everybody was losing trust, and I started to become unreliable in business. I started to become, like they used to say, missing in action, my dad used to say. You know, I'd be at work and then I'd be gone for 8 hours. Like, where's Steve to? And it kind of started to go in those cycles of, you know, I'd work my way back up to everyone believing me again, and then I crashed down and believing me again. And it was just a vicious cycle. I couldn't do anything about it. I was an addict. I didn't know how to get help. I didn't know that sometimes I didn't think I needed help. Right? I said, I got this. You know, it's no big deal. Just a bit of cocaine, just a bit of booze. But it was so much. Now looking back, it was so detrimental to everything around me. But I guess stuff happens for a reason, but I wasn't really ready to quit then either. You know, I think everybody kind of comes to a position where enough is enough. But to me, it was family ultimatums. You have 2 children, there's social services, they'll be taken away from you. So like the day before, well, actually 3 days before I went away to treatment, my wife was pregnant with my youngest son, Simon, and she went into the bathroom to give him a bath, and he has a change table, like on like a wooden change table there. As soon as she went in the bathroom, I laid out a line of cocaine on the change table when my son is lying and changes, and I did a big line of cocaine there, and she came around the corner and saw me do it. She said, "This is it. Yeah. I've told you one more time, you're going away for help." And I said, "You know what?" I looked and I'm like, my son's change table, like he could have been there and licked that. Or like I said, "You are right. I do need help." So from that point on, I realized that I was way in over my head. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what treatment meant. You know, I didn't know where I was headed. But I knew that I couldn't get it here. I knew I couldn't do it on my own. I tried over so many times. I had no skills. Like, what skills do I have of trying to recover? You know, I'm a professional in my area of business, but I was a fool and I had no skills in here, right? I needed to go to school. I needed to work at it. So that's basically, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, when you have the business and the success and especially the external things, the material goods, you know, it's easy to say, well, look what I've achieved. I must be okay, right? Mm-hmm. I must know what I'm doing. You know, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, right? So it's, you know, it's that ego takes over and defends and defends and defends. But as we all know, you can't fix an internal problem with an external solution, right? So how was the process of, actually, to go back a little bit more, what was your view of addiction and an addict? And like you said, you mentioned that, you know, you didn't think you were one much of the time. What was your view of what an addict was, you know, in the early days?
My view of an addict, what I seen an addict was downtown, sleeping on benches, had a cup out, looking for money, on, you know, social services, the typical poster addict. That's what I saw an addict. I said, "There's no way I'm an addict. You know, I've got money in my pocket. I've got a car I'm driving. I've got a good career." But I was no different than that person down there. It was only because of my surroundings and what I was blessed to have that I was any different. When I went away to treatment, I realized that I am that person on the bench. I am that person with the bottle in a brown bag, drinking it, hiding out, lying, cheating, you know, all the consequences that come with addiction was me. Like, I was that person. That's the view that I had after I stepped out and looked through that eye of what addiction is. It became quite clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of have to step back and zoom out a little bit, and then, you know, your perspective is it changes. Absolutely.
And it's a job when you're in being an addict and in the zone, we'll call it. Like, it's just, you don't really get to look at yourself or see what damages you're doing around you, because you're just waiting to get your next fix or waiting to get on that next party. Like, just people are dropping off around you when you're just saying, okay, well, I'll find someone else, or, I'll do this or I'll do that. You really don't see the damage you're doing. Like, it's just been so clear now in the last couple of years. Um, the damage I could have done could have been so much worse. Like, how I dodged so many bullets, and obviously my father's up there on his hands and knees praying, and my mom all the time. Like, no doubt that helped, but it could have been so much worse. I just saved myself in the nick of time, really. Not a day sooner, not a day later. It was just the perfect time when it all happened and it went down.
Adam, you got any?
Yeah, I mean, just incredible, Stephen. What do you think what's the most helpful thing that you have learned about yourself or life that helps keep you sober today?
I guess, well, when I went away to treatment, I learned a lot about things to watch out for and areas of my life that may still be weak and stuff. Like, I'm still not going to go put myself in a position or go hang around with those addict friends that I obviously don't talk to anymore. Like, I know areas that I still have to be aware of, and I know places that I should not have ever go again. Like, I don't want to have to say, oh, I'm okay, I'm going to go sit in a bar where people drink constantly and do shots till 12 o'clock at night. Like, I'm not going there. Like, I'm going to stay away from any trigger areas or any places that, could be dangerous to me, even though I still have people over and they drink and we have great times and I don't drink, and it's no issue to me. But I never want to become complacent or get too far ahead of myself. I still practice all the things that I was taught when I was in treatment. I still keep that tape right in the back of my head. And sometimes I replay it, because I still have, where I'm from, St. John's is still quite small, and I still have friends who are addicts out there, and my heart breaks for them. But, like, I see that you're only one drink away from being right back down that rabbit hole again. So I'm always practicing. I'm always, I'm at the gym all the time. I'm trying to do a lot of running and keep, I'm 40 years old only a little while ago. So I'm trying to live my best life right now. I have no reason to ever go back and be that person again. And I won't. I have a crazy support network. Trying to keep in touch with, other friends and addicts like yourself right now to keep motivated, and just seeing you guys right now relives the moment where I was up in Adam's little tiny office and we were going over stories, and, I was shitting bricks at that point. I mean, didn't really know what I was doing, but I realized I was in the right place. So I tried to absorb and soak up as much information and training as I could. So yeah, keeping me sober is, at this point, I'm 2 years in, I feel super strong. I'm never going to go back down that road again, ever. It just seems like such a long ways away, but I practice my teachings and my knowledge and everything that was there continually. I might not be thinking about it, but I am. It's kind of always there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a one day at a time kind of thing, right? And you just do your best that day and take more steps towards recovery than you do relapse. And it's a beautiful thing. And speaking of a beautiful thing, what do you find the biggest gift of this process has been for you?
The biggest gift of this process, it's a lot of gifts. I guess personally is the biggest gift for me. How I realized the things that I can achieve, and how that was the biggest thorn in my side was my addiction. So soon as I removed that addiction from my life, doors continuing and always still continue to open for me. The relationships that I got back, like with my sister, like I mentioned earlier, she's older than me and she's always been a bit standoffish because of my addiction. My brother, not so much, because he's still struggles a little bit, and we used to party together and do things. So our relationship is still what it is. But the relationship that I was just thinking last night that I regained with my sister has just been incredible. My family, my dad is still in the process now of buying my father out, and business now being mine, the responsibility, just the gifts just keep coming, even though they're not, some days are worse than others. And, when it comes to family and fights and business and all that kind of stuff, that's just normal. But I wake up every morning, just can't wait to see what the day is going to bring and breathe, a fresh breath. I'm not hungover. I'm not trying to blow cocaine out of my nose all day long, or my nerves are not fried from 3 days of non-sleeping. I go to bed at 9 o'clock every night. Like, I'm solid at 9 o'clock. 5:30, I'm up, fresh, working. It's just this. It's the life that I've wanted for so long that now is here. So I'm just taking it. I'm running with it. Like, but the best days are still yet to come. I have 2 beautiful boys. My wife is just a rocket. She is a rocket. So, like, I'm just loving it. Life's good.
Awesome.
Hmm.
And you look good, man.
Thanks, pal. Good.
That's amazing. I often think of that moment and, the 2 different directions, not just you. I mean, I'm happy to see you happy, Stephen, and it just brings me great joy, but also seeing all those pictures you send me and think about the different, that moment and the 2 different possible outcomes, depending upon whether you turn that cab around or whether you're not, and the difference that it makes in your family and your children and the type of life and the type of future they have, the massiveness of that particular moment and what a difference it made. And I'm so
massive, like completely massive. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. My kids would be taken from me. My wife, I wouldn't be wearing this ring anymore. My family business would have been probably sold to somebody else. I probably would have been the stereotypic guy down with no money, no job, no nothing, right? It was such a pivotal moment in my life. But yeah, I was afraid. There's a lot of stigma with an addict. There's a lot of, people say, oh, you're an addict or you're this or you're that. I was afraid to admit that I had a problem. But like admitting it, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I understand addicts, and I want to help people try to see that, you're not, that is not the typical addict. It can be hidden. They can be in camouflage right next to you, and they can be hurting. They can be troubled. And I just want to get the message out to people that I was not your typical addict, but I am an addict. I always will be an addict. There's no difference. Mm-hmm. But everybody needs help and everybody needs treatment. And, if I can help out in any way and my story can get across so somebody can hear it, I'll tell it again tomorrow.
What would you?
Fantastic. I missed a small piece of that because my computer froze. Valley Internet.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone that might see this, say on YouTube, that are going through similar struggles or addiction issues, what would be kind of the one piece of advice that you could offer them?
I guess piece of advice would be, there's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to somebody and asking for help and saying, listen, I can't do it anymore. Just like the pride and the stigma that comes with being an addict, I can guarantee you that the other side is way better than this side. Don't be afraid to make a call to somebody or go out on a ledge and say, I need help. Or the best advice would be to put your pride aside and try to get help for yourself, and it all comes differently from different channels and avenues to people, but you'll know when the opportunity is there for you to get help. And I would pray that you would get that help, because I still have a few friends who need help, and I still try to reach out to them and keep in contact with them. And, hopefully I'm going to get another story like mine saying, listen, I went away, I got help, I changed my life. Those are the stories that bring me joy now. Right.
Yeah. That they say the 500-pound phone, it's obviously the biggest step, and definitely the most hardest.
Love you, man. Thanks so much, Stephen, for doing this. And I know COVID has kept us delayed our plans of getting together, but I am going to come to Newfoundland and I am going to give you, I am going to meet your family and yeah, we're gonna spend some time together. I promise you
But
that.
my wife can't wait. I mean, she speaks about, obviously we always still keep in contact, and I'm sending you pictures, and she's well aware of it. But she just can't wait to actually meet you and have a chat, and she's going to be just thrilled.
Yeah.
She knows how much time I spent up in that little office with you, and how we really kind of just hit it off on the right time, and how we stayed in contact, and that goes a long ways for my family. Knowing that there's continued support, and it's one thing about treatment and the support. There is a support network out there for people, and I think people need to know that you just don't go to a treatment facility and then they just drop you and you're on your own. That there are support networks out there. There's so much great things at your disposal now to keep in contact with people. So people need to know of places like eye treatment and other institutions out there that are there to help people along the journey. The journey for people, some people are longer, some are shorter, but some are continuous. Some need to be there forever. But it's there, and I'm living proof. I can't say it enough.
And the greatest thing about those is that it's just a bunch of people that want to see everybody living their best, right? And
Yeah.
that's it. The acceptance and the community, and it's a beautiful thing.
Certainly, yeah.
Thanks so much. I absolutely connect with your story, and I can imagine that many others will as well. So thanks for taking the time today, and I'll be making a trip here from Grand Falls down to St. John's soon enough, and
Absolutely, bring the kids. Let's do it.
yeah, can't wait to see you in the flesh.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I got to say, this has been probably the best Friday I've had in a long time. I haven't really had a chance to talk or reach out about my story, just because of COVID and all the particulars that's going on. So I actually took off work today around 11 o'clock and came home to see my wife for a little bit, and make sure my laptop was charged, sure my hair and my hat was done, everything was ready to go. Just so excited to connect with you guys today. Thank you.
Fantastic. Lots of love from my family, our family to yours, my friend, and stay in touch.
100%, guys. Thanks for everything.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.